Hey babes! Welcome back to MoonbaeCrochet. Today I wanted to try something a little new on my channel, which my channel is very new, so I guess everything I do on here is new, but you know what I mean. I wanted to try something that I think I'm going to call Cocktails and Crochet Talk. Whereas the name implies, I indulge in a little adult beverage and just talk crochet, which is something I love to do. This is kind of like a more chatty spin on my TikTok series called Tipsy Crochet. In that one, I get tipsy and then I crochet a random granny square based on colors that I pull out of a hat, a cup, whatever. If that sounds fun, go ahead and follow me on TikTok at MoonbaeCrochet. Anyway, today I thought I would start this series off by talking about my crochet pet peeves, because there are a lot of them. I love to crochet, okay? I find it to be such a fun, therapeutic, just relaxing hobby. I don't know, man. Do you ever just get the feeling that you live the best life? And that's not to say like my life is perfect, trust me. There are a lot of problems, just like with everybody's life, right? Some people definitely have it worse than others, so I can definitely acknowledge certain privileges that I have. I am very blessed, but you know, obviously I have problems like everybody has problems, right? But there are certain moments where I can be sunken in on my couch, blanket wrapped around me, adult beverage within reach, or coffee, depending on the time of day, with my favorite YouTuber playing on the TV, or some Frank Sinatra blasting on the speaker, a fun snack also within my reach, and I am just like waist deep into a fun crochet project that I'm like, damn, this is the life. And I'm just thinking like, you know, there's so many people my age that would probably much rather be out at a party or like drinking with friends, and I'm over here wanting to drink by myself and crochet a project. And you know what? To each their own. I definitely can see the appeal, but not for me. I love to be able to take strings and turn them into something tangible that people like and people like want to snuggle with. And it's just, I love it. I love it. I love it. Love crochet. With that being said, there are so many things about crochet that sometimes make me want to rip my hair out. And today we're going to talk about those. These are kind of in no particular order, just I wrote down like 5 things that are my biggest pet peeves about crochet. So let's jump right into it with number 1. I know I said in no particular order, but this one really does irk me so bad. When the ergonomic grips start to slip off of my hooks. I have one tried and true crochet hook right here. This is the one Clover Amour hook that I own. I've never understood the price of Clover Amour hooks until like this trusty dusty little one has been with me through it all, and so far it's so good. So now I kind of understand, because oh my gosh, I have like cheap crochet hook sets that I've gotten from like Amazon or whatever, and just the more you crochet and the more you move it along, the ergonomic grips start to slip off, and then you can feel it moving while you're trying to crochet, and so irritating, because then I feel like not only am I trying to deal with my own yarn tension, but now I'm trying to keep it to where I'm holding my hook so tight so that I don't feel it slipping. It's so irritating. So far so good with my Clover Amour hook. Like, I am genuinely considering now just biting the bullet and placing an order for the entire set of Clover Amour hooks, because if they're all like that, I need that in my life. Next crochet pet peeve, tangles / yarn barf. I feel like that can be both kind of within the same vein. When I tell you, I can look to the side over here and I have bags, garbage bags, mind you. I need to like get my storage game together. But I have bags of yarn that, you know, I've barely grazed the surface of when I'm reaching in there trying to find certain colors, because I just know the deeper I go, half of those skeins are tangled together, and I cannot deal with that. If a tangle does not come out within 3 minutes of me trying to take it out, I will just start hacking away with scissors. I am not joking. There was a little point in time where my man was like, untangling like certain skeins of yarn for me, and I was like, oh my god, that was like literally so sweet, because I don't have the patience for stuff like that. I really can't. I'll give it a good honest try for maybe 10 minutes. I feel like even that's giving me too much credit. And if it doesn't work out, I'm hacking, and I don't care how many times I have to cut. If I really want the yarn, I'm gonna cut, and then I'll just kind of tie it all together. And yeah, there might be a bunch of tiny little micro knots within my yarn, but hey, it's untangled, right? But yeah, sometimes if the tangle is like way too bad and it's not that much yarn, I've been known to just throw it away. And that's terrible to say, because it's like I've spent money on this yarn, and also that's very unsustainable. Like, it's still good yarn, it's just tangled, but I can't handle it. Yarn tangles just irk me to no end. And within that same vein, yarn barf. And I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. I feel like if you're a crocheter, you know what I'm talking about. When you are like digging, I feel like the only brand of yarn that doesn't do this is Red Heart, because that's the point of Red Heart, I think. Like, they say, okay, the end of the yarn is in this side, you just reach in, you pull it out. Sometimes it's even sticking out when you buy it from the store, and you can just pull it out, and it's like a perfect middle pull the whole way. But sometimes you want other yarns that aren't Red Heart, and not every company is the same as Red Heart. So you reach your little fingers into the middle there, trying to get that middle pull, because if you get the end that's sticking out of the outside of the yarn, then the ball is going to be tumbling the whole time that you're trying to crochet with it. You're pulling it, it's flopping on the floor, your cat's probably chasing it, you know what I mean? So the middle pull is always best. But sometimes you reach in there and you find what you think is the middle, and you pull it out, and it's like a hunk of yarn this big, and now it's like you got two balls of yarn that are attached to each other. You know what? I have so many balls of yarn over there on my little shelf. I think I'm going to sacrifice one just to show you what I'm talking about. And it's so annoying. Perfect example right here. I've seen much worse than this, but I was kind of scared that I was going to show you this as an example, and then it was going to come out perfectly smooth, like make a liar out of me. But this is what we crocheters call yarn barf. And it's just so irritating, because now I gotta rifle through all this to find the actual end of the yarn to start crocheting with it. And then I gotta get through all of this yarn in my project before I get to the nice middle pull from the ball. You know what I mean? So, tangles and yarn barf. Terrible pet peeve of mine. By the way, do you like my t-shirt? It says, "That's what I do. I crochet and I know things." Shout out all my Tyrion Lannister fans out there, okay? So my next crochet pet peeve is losing yarn chicken, or just the anxiety and the fear of losing yarn chicken. Going through a game of yarn chicken, period, is annoying. And I've actually had somebody once tell me, like, you know, I've been crocheting for 20 years and I've never heard the term yarn chicken. Like, what is that? It's basically when, pretend I'm crocheting a sweater and I only have the front panel done, and I still need a back panel and two sleeves. And this is the only skein of yarn that I have left in the color that I need. Basically, it's playing a game of, is this one skein going to get me to the end of my project, or am I going to have to go buy more? Or even worse, like, what if the yarn is sold out, so now I can't get more? That is a feeling I would not wish on my worst enemy. Just kidding, it's not that bad. I think I would wish it on my worst enemy. I wouldn't wish worse things on them, but they can lose a few games of yarn chicken. I don't care. Yarn chicken, terrible situation, but that also like leads to hoarding tendencies, you know? I know I'm gonna need this many skeins for this project, so I'm gonna get actually 3 more than I need. That way I won't even come close to like having to play yarn chicken. That's just unnecessary, but unfortunately it happens, so So yes, yarn chicken. My fourth pet peeve in this list is weaving in ends. You have absolutely no idea how many projects I have that are practically done, it's just the ends aren't weaved in. weaving in ends, anything that has to do with a yarn needle. And actually my next one gets into this too, but just it's like the worst part. It's like I'm nearly done. It's like all the cute fun stuff is done and now I'm left with this like grunt work. You know what I mean? Weaving in ends is not fun, especially like if you really don't want them to be seen or you don't want them to come out because it's something that needs to be worn or like it's going to be a blanket that's going to get used. It's not fun. I have a perfect example right here. This is the square that I did a tutorial on recently. And just look, cute square, okay? I don't want to weave in these ends. It's just, I did all the work of making the square. I don't want to, do this extra work. It feels unnecessary. It feels rude. It feels like an attack. I'm not feeling it. The last pet peeve I have written down for today, because I feel like there's probably more than this, and these are just the few that came to mind, kind of goes hand in hand with my last one about not wanting to weave in ends. Assembling amigurumi, aka like crochet dolls, stuffed animals, whatever. Assembling them, not fun. I don't like it. Do I like to see the creature come to life in my hand? Yes, I do. Do I love the process of just like crocheting it and just like having a great time? Yes. I do not like sewing on pieces, but I love the way they come out. Like, look at this. She's so cute, But I had to sew on her ears. I had to sew on her arms. I had to sew on her head. Like, just the sewing part is not fun at all to me. I don't enjoy that in the slightest. Once it's all done and I get to cut out the ends and then that's it, I like it. It's cool. But the actual process of lining everything up and sewing it is not fun to me in the slightest. If I wanted to be a seamstress, I would have learned to sew. But I learned how to crochet, and I just feel like those things go hand in hand, and I just don't like that. It just feels like too much work, not for me. If I could just make all the pieces to an amigurumi or any kind of project really, and then have somebody else sew them together if I could trust them, you know what I mean? I would do that. But alas, I am the only person I can trust in this cruel world. So those were my crochet pet peeves for the day on this first episode of Cocktails and Crochet Talk. Please let me know if you liked this more like chit-chatty kind of vibe. I had very much fun doing it, so yeah, I definitely plan on doing this in the future. I don't know what other topics I will discuss, but I feel like there's so much that goes into crochet, and some people don't crochet and they want to learn, and some people who follow me do crochet and they just, like to talk about it and stuff. I love to talk about it, so yeah, I don't know what other kind of subjects I should talk about on this little segment, but please leave comments if you have any suggestions and I will greatly take them into consideration. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for subscribing if you did. And if you like my content, please feel free to give it a like if you so choose. Feel free to check me out on my other platforms, TikTok, Instagram. I'm not very active on Instagram, but TikTok. And if you are interested in any of my patterns or finished pieces, I do have an Etsy shop as well, etsy.com/shop/MoonbaeCrochet. With all that being said, it has always been my dream to just share my content with people and make people smile and just share my art. And I really love that it just seems like it's becoming a reality slowly but surely. And I just appreciate like every step of the way. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for viewing. I greatly, greatly appreciate you. With all that being said, I will see you in the next one. Stay crafty. Bye.